Happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Thursday. Today is our 24th town hall. I mean, it's just amazing to see 24 weeks going strong with these town halls. And every single week we see new and familiar faces. And it's just been exciting. Today, we're blessed to be able to have a lot in his home studio with his quality, with his good internet. And we're ready to go. So a lot, how has your week been? I know you've been traveling left and right. How have you been?
Yeah, long week. I've traveled back from Israel to Miami, 12 hours, long flight, but yeah, I'm back. Internet should be good, hopefully.
Yeah.
My mic is good, camera should be fine. Hopefully, you'll be able to see me clearly. And thank you everyone for watching us as always. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's always great. And already love to be able to see people inside the chat to be able to go ahead and welcome us. We have Darius coming in, first one here. Good afternoon, everyone. Susan, good afternoon, Alon and Anthony. Then we have Tihano Time, welcome from Dallas. Then we have Ron, what's going on from Israel. Dominant Entertainment, both on Facebook and YouTube. Oh, you living crazy today, huh? Then we have the Rambling Vlogger, what's going on? Raj, what is going on? Jim Lawyer. Hello from Tip City, Ohio. What is going on? It's always great to be able to see so many new faces, and our community is just continuing to grow over and over again. And today we're going to talk about the difference between guests and speakers. So previously, you've been seeing a lot of questions in the Facebook group, on the YouTube comments, speaking heavily about guests, things you can do with guests, things you can't do with guests, things that you should be doing with speakers. And I just want to really focus today on really establishing the difference between a guest and a speaker, and really hitting home on those, because right now we did a poll on the YouTube, and you haven't been able to vote yet, go ahead and vote. And also, if you haven't liked the live stream yet, make sure you like it. But it says, what do you use more, a guest invite or a speaker invite, right? And right now, 71% of you utilize the guest invite. So we're definitely curious to see, why so many of you are gravitating towards the guest invite. But before that, Alad, why don't you just talk about kind of just briefly the difference between a guest and a speaker, and then we can showcase kind of a demo of, in details what it truly is.
Yes, I think that, as you said, this is something we hear again and again from people asking that. So first of all, by people asking that, it means, and we understand, that it's not clear enough within the platform. And this is something that we are going to improve. But it is, for now, important for us to try to explain as much as we can about the differences between guest and speaker, right? Because we think it's something that can really help you to know the difference and to use guests when it's right to use guests, and to use speakers when it's right to use speakers according to the use cases, to the different use cases. So to try to keep it short and clear as much as I can, a guest is someone that you will use when you are using dynamic scenes, right? Okay. And then it can be good for both use cases. Either you're just fine with dynamic scenes and you don't need to use pro-scenes at all. And then it's easy. You just share one link. They're joining, add to stream. Perfect. So in terms of ease of use, I understand why you would prefer to use guest in this use case. Another great use case for guests is if you would like to invite people what we call on the fly, like spontaneous. Right? You are doing a live stream, and we had a nice client from Nigeria actually that used that very nicely in kind of a football show that they had, and then they asked people, okay, who want to join to the stream, and then they shared the link. This is a great use case to do that. If you want to add people on the fly to the stream, just share the link, boom, they're in, you can add them to the stream. Okay. So those two, great for guests. With that being said, if you having pro-scenes, if you know ahead of time who will be your guests, we truly recommend you to create them as speakers in the system, assign them to the session that you created, to the broadcast, and then you can create amazing pro-scenes using those speakers. Okay, because then just think about it logically. The system knows about them, right? You created them as speakers. So now Anthony and Elad here, we are both speakers in the system. So the system knows to expect that we are there. We are kind of assets within the system, right? So if you add layers and you go to speakers, you will find a list of speakers you already created. You can add them to the pro-scene, and just, you know, be as creative as you can and create the show and prepare things ahead of time with all the benefits we talked about for pro scenes. But the speakers is the key part of it, because then you can create the scenes with the speakers ahead of time. This is if you'll try to adopt that, I think it will, you know, it will upgrade your live stream level crazy.
Yeah, and I agree. And I know we don't typically take questions right in the beginning. So if anybody is new, we'll definitely take that question because I think it's related to what you're talking about right now. But typically what we like to do, we like to talk about the topic for the day. We like to go ahead and demo a demonstration of the topic of what we're talking about. And then we like to spend the rest of the time in the town hall answering questions and going deep into the topic, or just answering any kind of question related to Evmux. But since you did ask this question right when you were talking about that a lot, we can kind of address it. So it says, Tihano Time says, so a co-host should be set up as a speaker. If they are added to a new session as a speaker, will it send them a new email link for that session for them to use, or do they use the previous email link?
So great question to kind of explain also what is a co-host and what is the difference between speakers, right? So thank you for that question. A co-host, as we see that, okay, no, well, in Zoom it's something else, in other places it's something else. In Evmux, when we say a co-host, you can also call it collaborator. It's someone that will be a producer as well. Okay, so you'll have two producers. A producer is the person that has all the access to the studio. You remember in Evmux we have the speaker room where speakers are, where it's super easy for them. They're just joining and it's kind of a gallery view for them with some features. And there is the studio where you can really create the show, broadcasting channels, go live, you know, just control everything, right? A to Z. So a co-host is something with access to the studio, and depend on the package that you have, you can have multiple people having access to the studio. Okay, with that being said, the same person acting as a co-host can be also a speaker, and there are two ways to do that, to achieve that. First of all, as a co-host, you can add this person also as a speaker to a pro scene and to a dynamic scene. So then this person can join the studio but still be live, like I'm now the producer and I'm also live. Okay, so it's totally doable. Another option is to send this co-host, create this co-host as a speaker, and then to your question, yes, this co-host will get another email inviting him to be a speaker for your project. Okay, and then this co-host will join as a speaker to the system, and then basically in the speaker interface, they won't have any access to the studio. They won't be able to play scenes. They won't be able to change the layout. Just speak when they're on the stage. That's pretty much it. And of course, if they're backstage, they can communicate easily, freely, like any other speaker. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, that was great. And that also gave me an idea to be able to make a video, the difference between a speaker and a co-host, and also collaborate on, go deeper on a co-host and how to set that up. So there's no confusion there as well. So great question. So we have greetings from South Africa. Welcome, welcome. So with that being said, I think that there is, because of that question, there's so much things that are running through my mind right now for us to be able to address and talk about. But first, let's go ahead and just lock into the difference between a guest and a speaker. We're going to show you a demo now of how you invite both, when to use both, and also you get to see the experience that your speakers and guests are going to see utilizing the speaker room, as well as what features are available. Because as a producer and somebody who's managing the show, you want to be able to educate your guests and speakers on the dashboard that they're seeing, so that way you can navigate them when they want to know, how do I mute myself, how do I access my camera, what am I looking at? So we'll demo that here for you now. So if you have any questions throughout the video or throughout the process, just go ahead and drop them in, and then we'll answer them in the order that they came in. All right. Perfect.
All right, I'm playing.
All right. Not only does Evmux make it easy to invite guests and speakers to your live stream or recording, but we have a special guest and speaker room that allows them to have a fantastic experience. So in today's video, I'm going to share the difference between a guest and a speaker, how to invite them based on the role, and I will show you precisely what the speaker room looks like and what features are available for your guests. So let's go ahead and jump into my Evmux account so I can show you just how easy all of this is. All right, so here we are inside of my Evmux account, and what you're currently looking at that is the live stream editor. So I'm getting ready to tell you how you utilize a guest and the difference between a guest and a speaker. So let's kick off with a guest. A guest is someone that you're going to go ahead and invite on the fly. Someone that you don't maybe not plan for, maybe you're looking for something more simple. And when I say simple, I mean utilizing the dynamic scenes. So dynamic scenes is perfect for a guest simply because you can come down here to this little icon, hit invite guest. You can copy this actual link, you can email it, you can send it via messenger, or you can just send it directly to them, and they'll be able to go ahead and join your live stream session immediately. No app required for download, no software. They'll literally click the link, it will ask them to verify their camera and their microphone, and then they'll be plugged in directly into your session. And then utilizing dynamic scenes, this is where you have the option to be able to utilize these predefined layouts for you and that guest. Now, that's how you utilize a guest, and that's how I would utilize a guest if it's something more on the fly or I'm looking for more of a simplified edit. If you're looking to go ahead and utilize pro scenes, right, and you're looking to go ahead and have customized scenes like we have here for our town hall, then you're going to go ahead and utilize a speaker. A speaker is someone that you already know it's going to be present for your session, and you're going to want to create something a little bit more custom. For example, me and myself a lot, we're speakers because I'm utilizing pro scenes, and I want to be able to have the flexibility to be able to decide how we're positioned, how we're defined, what shape our camera is, how our lower thirds look. It just gives you more flexibility. So whenever you have a podcast, whenever you have a live stream where you want to have a guest and you know ahead of time who that guest is going to be, and you're going to want to create some custom scenes, you must add them as a speaker and you must utilize pro scenes. So let me go ahead and show you how you go ahead and add a speaker, because I highly recommend that mostly everyone that's watching this video utilize pro scenes and pretty much have dynamic scenes as a fallback plan. I think it's so important for you to be prepped and have your scenes ahead of time. So utilizing the speaker feature is going to be the best route for you whenever you have a guest on stage or on your live stream. So to do that, you're going to come to your dashboard and you're going to come to where it says speakers. Okay, you're going to come here and you're going to select to the right. You're going to select add speaker, and you're going to go ahead and put in their email. You're going to put in their first name, their last name. You can put in their title, their phone number, their company, and their position. And if they have a logo, you can go ahead and add it as well. That way, when their lower third pops up, you can also display their logo, their title, and their company in there as well. Once you've gone ahead and put in that information, you're going to go ahead and hit save. And that's going to go ahead and send an invite to your speaker via email that they'll then be able to go ahead and access the speaker room. But adding a speaker doesn't get done just there. Now that we've added them to our account, we now want to add them to an actual session, which that be your live stream. So if I have here the town hall, I want to go ahead and click on the town hall or the session that you want that speaker to be a part of. And then you want to come to where it says participating speakers, and you want to go ahead and search for the person you just went ahead and added. Then you click their name and you see here that they'll be added. You simply select save, and now they're going to have access to that session. And the reason why there's this two-step process is because the system needs to know what speakers assigned to what project and what speakers assigned to what session. That way that guest doesn't join a session that's not active or a session that's not where they're supposed to be. This makes it sure that when they click that link, they join into the correct session for your event. So that's how you're going to go ahead and add the actual speaker to that actual session. And now here in your pro scenes in your dashboard, you're now going to have access to that person to be able to add them. So if I create a new scene and then I go ahead and add new layer, you're going to see here that now Ram, who I just went ahead and added, is going to be available for me. Here he is. So now I can add him here, and now I have the availability to be able to customize the way he's going to be positioned. Maybe he's going to be sharing his screen, so I can go ahead and add that in there to be able to have him share that screen. So here, see? And it just gives you more flexibility for you to be able to customize and properly brand this when you have a speaker. So once again, I highly recommend utilize speakers, whether you have a guest or as a speaker. Treat them as one and utilize the speaker feature unless you're looking for something more simplified. But let's go ahead and look at what the speaker experience looks like, or even for your guests, what window do they see when they actually log in? So let's go ahead and take a look at that now. So once they get logged in as a speaker, this is what they're going to go ahead and see. Now I have two versions of myself. myself in here, so it may be a little bit awkward, but for the most part, if I had two speakers and myself as a producer, this is what your guests are going to see. So let's go ahead and break this down on what the view for them is, right? So I'm going to go ahead and disable my camera on the dashboard for the time being so we can make this a little bit easier. Okay, and then here, right? So we have two people inside of the speaker room. Now on the left hand side, you're gonna see here that your speaker is gonna have their camera displayed just there, right? So they'll be on camera to be able to be seen directly there. Then here at the bottom, you're going to see participants and you're going to see live. So your speaker or guest is going to be able to know what other guests or speakers are here with them inside of the speaker room. Then here on the live, this is where they're going to be able to see the preview of the live stream, of the recording, anything that's going on. That's where they're going to go ahead and view that. Then here on the right hand side, this is where they get access to chat. This is where an opportunity for you guys to have a group message, for them to have conversations with other speakers or guests that are backstage with them. And then here on the right hand side, these are going to be where all the social comments are going to appear. So if you're streaming to Facebook, to YouTube, to LinkedIn, to Twitch, to any platform, anytime that you as the producer are putting on screen any comments, your guests and your speakers are going to be able to see those comments that you display on stream here on the right side, so they can also engage with them. Then here at the bottom, they're going to get access to a few tool sets, right? They're going to have the ability to go ahead and mute their microphone. They're going to have the ability to go ahead and start their camera. They're going to have the ability to have some adjustments for their camera and microphone, whether they want to switch to a different camera, switch to a different audio, have some echo cancellation, noise suppression. They could even go ahead and share their screen. They can share a video, and once again, they have the option to be able to hide chat if they want to be able to have a bigger screen for them to be able to view. Then of course the option to be able to switch this from dark to light, to be able to go full screen, and to be able to go ahead and mute the stage. Now when it says mute the stage, that means to mute the live stream on their end so they're not hearing it. And then you're going to see here that it currently says backstage on your guest's camera. What this is letting your guests know is that right now they're not on stage, meaning they're not live, they're backstage, able to talk freely. Once you push that person live on stage and you're ready to start recording, this will change to on stage, letting them know that they're live to be able to start presenting. So you can see here that this is the speaker room experience that your guests are going to have, and then you as the producer will go ahead and handle everything here on the editor side. So you can see how the guest and speaker experience is something we here at Evmux put a lot of thought into to ensure your production goes smoothly. But the speaker room is not just for speakers and guests. You can use the speaker room for virtual meetings as well. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check out this video where I show you what it's all about and how it actually works. I'll see you in the next video. All right, so I hope that that video has brought some clarity to you on the difference between a guest and a speaker and when to be able to utilize them. And if you've never had the opportunity to be a speaker or a guest yourself, I hope that also gave you an idea to be able to see what the speaker room looks like, so that way you can also educate your guests and speakers in the future on what to actually do. So while we were backstage, me and Alon figured that it would be a great opportunity for us to be able to go ahead and share our screen and to really go a little bit deeper into just like showcase, you know, the why we're so, and we say so much that we want you to use speakers as much as possible, because for the most part, not everyone is going to go ahead and be utilizing on the fly guests, but I do understand there's a need for it. And like I said, we will be looking for a different alternative to be able to add speakers just as fast as you add guests. So for those of you that are looking for that, that is coming. But for the time being, we want to educate you to be able to utilize guests as much as possible. So a lot here is inside the editor. So we can quickly showcase. Let's go ahead and kick off with just a guest, since that's what majority of people are utilizing. So we can look at kind of like the dynamic scenes. You can kind of explain to them, you know, what the experience is for that guest there, right? You have options, but you are limited.
Exactly. So what you can see here, of course, we are live now with the my share screen, and I'm not going to change that, but I can show you what I can do now when I'm editing. And of course, when you are not live, you're just able to edit it whatever you want. So in the dynamic scenes, pretty simple what you can do. You're pretty limited, which is good and bad, right? Good that it's super simple, no room for mistakes. We're kind of limiting you to some sort of layouts. You can upload background, video clips, overlay, logo to the top right corner, and play a little bit with the brand settings. That's pretty much what you can. And then you can add people to the stream. So people that will connect to your live stream, this is how you do that. You just copy, as you saw in the video, you copy this link, share it in any other way, and then people will start joining to your stream, right? So once they are joining, if I'm hovering my mouse, I can add any component, because it's not only speakers, it can be also share screens and local videos. Whatever source I have, I can hover it and add to stream. And then I'll take Anthony and I'll add Anthony as well. And then I can play around a little bit without how it looks. But that's pretty much what I can do, right? So if I'm going to the pro scenes, then in pro scenes, I can do so much more. If I'm creating a new scene now, whatever, you see that first of all, I have a lot of different templates that I can use. Okay. So let's take this template as an example. And I can simply play around with the template as much as I can. Okay, I can play with it as much as I can. You see no speaker now, but easily I will replace it to other speaker. And let's take Anthony here, and let's take Elad here, and let's take someone that is not here currently, which is our dear Darius that was a guest
Darius.
once. Okay, so of course Darius is not connected now, but you know, the scene is here, and now I can play around as much as I can. So we're not, it's not a pro scene show today, but reminding everyone, with pro scenes you can do whatever you want. I can do Darius this size and take Anthony here and move him here, and take Elad here and move Elad here, and play around with who in the bottom and who on the top, and add more layers like media files. And I can do a video as a background, I can do a picture as a background, I can add more pictures, I can do whatever I want. So live pro scenes is amazing. And by adding speakers ahead of time to the system, when you're going to layers and to speakers, boom, you have that. Okay, you can add the speakers to the scenes and create things ahead of time and be ready and prepared for your show. And there was one question that I saw. Let's see if there are many, maybe others. This question. No. Where is it? Yeah, I wish there was a way to add people on the fly to the process. There is a way to do that. It's not very easy. I mean, it's not very easy because you have to do that kind of on the fly, right? Because you create the process, you put whatever speaker there in the process, like let's say Darius now, and then let's say that a guest joined. I need to basically go here, add a layer, and you see that we have remote guest. Okay. Those are people that joined as guests to the stream, and then I can add them to a process. And then I'll do a transition on the fly. It is possible, but not very easy. It's much easier in the dynamic scene that you just have them here and add to stream. Okay, no doubt. It's easier, right? So if that's something that you're going to do, this is the best way. With that said, if you are very into process and you are having guests that you are on the fly that joining the stream, what I'll do is two options. First of all, I will create maybe a dynamic scene that I will play only when I have those guests. Okay, and then I'll play the process for all the other part of the show. Or yes, I will do this two steps process of creating the scene ahead of time with the guest, and then when the guest really joins, I'll quickly do the edit, add them to the process, and transition. Totally doable.
Yeah, and I think that that's again, the beautiful thing about the pro scenes is the fact that you can go ahead and create a scene ahead of time and just put a placeholder. As long as you have one speaker, one guest that you're able to go ahead and put in there, it really makes it easy for you to be able to then do things on the fly. And I think that's so important. We have a lot of questions coming in. I love it. We have here says, how can the speaker and guests share the live stream on their social media platforms? That's a great question. It's probably even a great video idea. So probably go ahead and make this video, and I'll probably release it on Monday, of showing you how a guest and speaker can share their live stream directly on your channels. But a short answer is you can use the RTMP. So the RTMP connection, I know Elad has another recommendation as well. Let him share that. But Using the RTMP connection, all you need to do is get from your guests or your speakers, you need to get their stream key and their stream URL, and then they're able to connect the social platform. So if you're streaming to YouTube, they can be streaming to YouTube. They can have 4 or 5 channels that they're connected to RTMP that you're pushing the stream to without any issue. So that would be the quick way to be able to do it in a sense. But I'd like Alad's recommendation on how he would approach it, and I would love for you to share that with everyone.
Yeah, so what Anthony suggested, this is kind of the go-to solution, the easiest one, that you're just getting the RTMP from your speakers, guests, whomever, and you just add that as custom RTMP. We're not limiting you of custom RTMP destinations. We are limiting you with the total destinations you have, but not like other platforms. Specifically custom RTMP, you can have according to the cap. So if your package is up to 5 destinations, all the 5 can be custom RTMP theoretically. Okay,
right.
So you can definitely add the custom RTMP details of your guests and speakers. With that said, if sometimes it's very important that you will have their YouTube channel or LinkedIn profile connected as is with YouTube specifically and Facebook, because you can get the comments if you are connecting the YouTube and Facebook of your speakers. The comments coming in will be also from their channels, right? Which is nice. So if you would like to do that, the quick workaround for that is to add them, besides adding them as speakers, add them also as co-hosts, as collaborators. Ask them to join the studio ahead of time just to connect their Facebook or YouTube or both, okay? And then during the day of the show, I do recommend you that they will join as speakers, simply because 2 chefs in the kitchen, sometimes it's not ideal, unless they're really contributing to producing the show. I just don't think they should be as a producer in the producer side. They better be in the speaker room. Okay, but that's just my preference. Theoretically, they can definitely be with you in the studio on the fly while you produce, and they will just speak. It is possible. There is a possibility they by mistake they will do something. You don't want to be there. Ask them to join as speakers for the show. Just do the studio before to connect the broadcasting channel. That's it.
Yeah, that was great. And like I said, I'll make a video on it and release it on Monday, because this is a question I have been seeing going around quite frequently. So just take a look out, make sure you have notifications on the YouTube channel, make sure you're part of the Facebook group, and the video will come out live on Monday at 1 p.m. So we have another great question here from Ben. Ben, welcome to the stream. Says, can I use my Blackmagic cams and the ATM Mini Pro Extreme ISO and connect it to Evmux? 100%. As long as Evmux can pick up any video input, any video input and any audio device that you may have. Like, for example, I have the Rodecaster plugged in, that's what's picking up my audio, and then I have the Cam Link, or you can have the ATM Mini be your video source, and then you're able to go ahead and have the multiple sources connected into your ATM Mini, allowing you to have multiple cameras or multiple video devices that you want to go ahead and add. But 100%, and I see that the Rambling Vlogger has been using that as well, so he can definitely be a good resource for you to be able to go ahead and get assistance with that if you do need to. The Rambling Vlogger, he is a part of the Facebook group. I'm not sure if you're a part of the Facebook group, Ben, but if you are, it's a great place to be able to connect. So with that, it says, Darius says, you guys make me feel special. Of course, man. Of course. You definitely are great. Been with us in the beginning. You definitely brought a lot of value and support. Yeah. You support the community a lot. And you're always open to take questions and help people out in the community. So we appreciate that. So let's see here. Okay, perfect. So with that, it's just how you're going to utilize it, right? So there's, like I said, we've talked about today about 3. Here's another question here. It says, can they just share? Can they just use the share feature and place it in their social media account during a live session, and it would also play live? So yeah, if you're talking about sharing it on like Facebook, on LinkedIn, and platforms of that sort, 100% in a post, if they hit share from your channel, not only does that help boost your live stream, because it gives signals to the platform to know like, hey, people are liking this content, they're sharing it to their platforms. But yes, if they click share on, let's say, example, on Facebook or on LinkedIn, it's going to share it on their profile, and it's going to play directly in their feed as well, so that their audience can see it. So 100%, that would be the easiest way. The option that we recommended, it would be as if the live stream is coming directly from the speaker, so it would look natural, like it's coming directly from them, not an actual share. So that's the difference there. But I do love that idea as that an option as well, to be able to share it. So
great,
Mhm.
great that you mentioned that sometimes we try to do things
Right.
complicated, which is nice, but the easiest way is just ask your speakers, and we encourage all of you to do that, to
Right.
share the content as a post in social media. On top of
Right.
that, yes, they can share it also as a live stream coming from them, and this is by how we explained Custom RTMP, co-host, both options.
Right, I completely agree there. SmackDown says, can you have multiple cameras showing at the same time? Quick answer is yes, you can. Is it natively inside of the Evmux platform? Not yet. We will have multi-cameras available here very soon. And then with that, but to answer your question, you can. The workarounds that I have found to be able to, number one, if you have an ATM mini, you can go ahead and have that to be able to have multiple cameras being able to come in. But at the end of the day, you can add the multiple sources as speakers in there as well, for you to be able to go ahead and have different variations of the cameras in pro scenes, for you to be able to toggle between to be able to show different angles of it. If you have any other recommendation, Alad, for that, but somebody who's doing this very well is Darius. I have seen Darius do this very well, where he's using actually one camera to make them look like there's multiple cameras.
Yeah, and just to recommend you, if you are going to do that, make sure that, first of all the cameras will be connected. Let's assume that you're not using this ATEM, and then in the ATEM you do the switching, and that's easy. But let's assume that you have just 2 or 3 cameras connected to your computer. Make sure that all of them being recognized by the browser, of course. And then you can add, we call it guests, basically. And you add, you take the URL of the guest, or you create speakers for the cameras if you want to use ProScenes. Make sure that you connect them as in incognito mode. Okay, it will make things much smoother. And then within the speaker room, you have the settings button to be able to switch camera, switch microphone, and then basically you create multiple angles, multiple cameras within Evmux as a workaround. With that said, as Anthony just mentioned, we are going to release what we call the native multi-camera feature within the studio. So instead of doing this workaround we just described with guests, within Evmux you will be able to easily just have multiple cameras available for you as sources to add them to scenes, dynamic scenes, or process.
Right. Yeah, and that's gonna be a great feature to be able to have. And it's just going to open up a lot of opportunities. So, with that, like I said, it just always brings us back to pro scenes, right? And pro scenes is where you do a lot of these things, is where you're able to go ahead and have all these customizations for your speakers. A lot of times, one thing that I do see come up quite frequently, if you can go ahead and share your screen, a lot of definitely will love to be able to show. There seems in the Facebook group and in the YouTube comments, I've been seeing a lot where, hey, I turn off the lower thirds for myself, but for my guest, it still appears. Or hey, I'm in pro scenes and I turned off the lower thirds inside of the branding materials by dynamic, but I still see my lower thirds. So I want to just really quickly showcase the difference of, like, when you toggle lower thirds off in brand settings, that's going to be for your dynamic features, right? And then to toggle lower thirds off in pro scenes, it has to be done at the element level. So at the individual level of the video of the person. So if Alad disables his lower third, it doesn't disable my lower third, right? You have to disable the lower third per the speaker, per the guest. So it's definitely super important to have that differentiating factor, because if you just turn it off in brand settings at the top, it's only for dynamic scenes.
And then just add to that, that's a great point, and we understand that it's a bit confusing, and of course we will improve that from the product standpoint, but now we're just trying to explain. So you can see here that I have this lower third and Anthony has something totally different. And that's the power of ProScenes, okay?
Right.
That you can do whatever you want, right? So I know that sometimes it's like more work to do, but
Right.
think about it, about the capabilities it gives you. You don't want to work hard, dynamic scenes is all yours, okay? But you
Right.
want to be
Yeah.
creative, you want to do something special with pro scenes. You're, I won't say unlimited, but we're taking it to the edge with what you
Right.
can do on live streams easily, drag and drop, web based. It's phenomenal.
Right. Yeah, I really do enjoy that. And here, Denise, since we're here sharing the screen, welcome to the live stream. It says green screen use for dynamic scenes. So it's not available for dynamic scenes, but it is available for your pro scenes. So like I said, when you're trying to do things a little bit more custom and things of that sort, you want to be able to be directly inside of pro scenes, because inside the pro scenes, you're also able to green screen and chroma key your speaker and your guest as well. So they can have a green screen behind them, and you can chroma key out their camera and give them a nice little polished look. So that's why it's available inside of the pro scenes, because it's more of a customization and more of a kind of, you have to adjust it and do these kind of things in there. So where it's like on dynamic scenes, I could understand where you want the chroma key, where it's just like kind of like a Zoom experience where you come in there and you can switch out your background, or like a Google Meet, you can switch out your background really quickly to be able to do that. So it is something that we can go ahead and look at. I know it's another feature is utilizing like Snapcam. Snapcam as well is a great additional to add to give you some pretty cool backgrounds as well, right out of the gate, that it just picks up your camera, and then you're able to have all kind of different backgrounds that you would be able to utilize inside of dynamic scenes 100%.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's see here. It says teams can work together from multiple location. So 100% teams can work 100% together from different locations. Just like Alad said, it's completely cloud based. So just how Alad was traveling for multiple locations, he was still able to go ahead and get logged in and be able to utilize all the assets that were there as if he was on his own personal computer. Now, when it comes to teams, one of the biggest things is when you have two producers, it's allocating what producer is going to do what. I think it's super important, right? So if you have a team where you're like, hey, you're going to make scenes and you're going to go ahead and actually make sure that the team, that the guests are all aligned, you're going to do audio and production check, and you can have another co-host where you're like, okay, hey, you are going to be the one that's going to make sure that, you're making sure the audio is coming in through, that the live feed is looking well. Because I think that if you have everyone working at the same time doing the same exact thing, that's where the problems come in. Because if I'm editing a scene and then Alad's editing that same scene, it's going to create conflict. But you can have multiple people inside the editor handling the functions of a producer. But I highly recommend having designated tasks for each person. That way it's more of a streamlined process. But yeah, everybody can work from anywhere in the world. See here. Jamie says a global setting for L3 would be nice.
When I guess that Jamie talks about for pro scenes, like Jamie would to set up a default lower third that will this will be the default for the pro scenes. Jamie, 100% right. This is when I said that we wanted to upgrade that, that's basically what I meant. Because we do have that for dynamic scenes. We will add something to the pro scenes. We're still kind of thinking about the best way, because it's always about not to confuse people between dynamic to pro. What is the best way to implement that? Still kind of brainstorming on that, but we know that it's needed. So thank you, Jamie.
100%. And then Tihano Time says, if there is a misspelling in the lower thirds, is there a quick way to correct the spelling for yourself and for your guest and speaker?
Yeah, so the quickest way for now is for speakers, you just go to the dashboard, you edit the details of the speaker, and just make sure to refresh the browser of the studio to see, so it will be implemented. For guests, though, they will just have to log out basically and log in again and change the name. We are going to add the possibility for quick you edits as a producer to be able to edit their name.
Right.
It's coming, but currently what I just suggested, those are the best practices.
I agree. And then it says, Cohono Live says, this is a great platform, but it can be a best platform if you can sort out the sound quality. So definitely go ahead and get connected with me, get connected inside the Facebook group. Anytime that we can look for ways to improve, and you're looking for things more specific, like sound quality, we could always be more than happy to open to hear your thoughts and experience of what the sound quality should be or what you expect of it. So we can always improve those elements there. So feel free to connect with me in the Facebook group, or just send me a messenger. And we can set up a call to be able to talk together, to be able to get a better understanding of what you're actually looking for, so it can be the best platform for you.
Yep.
Then we have,
I think the last one that we will take for today.
All right, perfect.
Is
perfect.
the question about the background.
All right.
Backgrounds. I'll take this question as
All right,
templates
cool.
in general.
Okay, yeah. Awesome.
So when you create process, there are plenty of templates you can use also for backgrounds, for countdown videos and breaks and things like that.
Right.
With that said, one of our priorities for this quarter, maybe I can say, is to add more and more and more templates to the system. We do understand that this is something that a lot of people look for kind of, a lot of people, they are not graphic designers, and it's hard for them to really create the assets, and we are here to help. So yes, we are going to add more and more and more templates to the system. For your specific question about our background, that's not something available. That's something that we created with the Evmux kind of branding and color. It's custom made, so it's not available as a template in the system so far. If you do want to use it specifically, connect with us. I'm down, to share it with you.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. So if you would like to use Evmux branding, be my guest.
Right. It doesn't hurt. So it's always getting, Susan said, this is great, informative. Town Hall is so professional. Really, really enjoy everyone tuning in. The content couldn't be what it is if it wasn't for you guys' amazing questions, and for tuning in and supporting and giving us feedback. I think that that's always super important. And it's just a great opportunity. We're here, we're learning, we're educating. It even gives me ideas for new videos. And I love to be able to go ahead and create videos that's generated from you guys, because it's problems that I can solve. If you have that question, I'm sure other people have that question, and new users have that question. So you're just helping us really, really build up our library of content to educate our users. So really, really appreciate it. If you do have any kind of video ideas, please do send them my way. If we didn't get to your question here today, please join us inside of the Facebook group. Ask the questions. We're constantly in there. I like to jump in there right after the town hall to answer any questions that we may have missed. So that's a great way to be able to find us. Lovely Peace, thank you so much for tuning in. Ben, thank you so much for tuning in. The Rambling Vlogger as well. It's just been amazing. So what do we always say, Lad?
Today we need to say something else. Susan just reminded me. Happy 4th of July to the US. Right?
That is right.
We're both living in the US. We have to celebrate.
It's coming soon. It's coming.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I'm new in the US. Everyone knows that. So I'm starting to get used to it. So there is, I understood, a long weekend now in the US for the 4th of July.
Yeah, a lot doesn't take vacation, doesn't take days off.
A lot of people taking days off next week, and I'm trying to schedule meetings, and everyone is off, and I'm like, man, let's work.
Yeah, Monday. It actually falls on a Monday, so it is going to be a long weekend. So really excited. Everyone stay safe, enjoy, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Yes, we will.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, I'm live. That was easy.